Hello and welcome to this short guide to Harvard referencing using Cite Them Right. The University of Wolverhampton's preferred referencing style is Cite Them Right Harvard, based on the advice given in the Cite Them Right textbook by Richard Pears and Graham Shields and the Cite Them Right online website. This style is used by the majority of our students and replaces the university's own Harvard style, which is being phased out. It is important to check your module guide to confirm exactly which referencing style you are required to use for each assignment. We know that referencing can be confusing, especially for new students, so this video will explain the basics for you. We will cover why referencing is important and work through some essential examples of print and online sources. So to start with, what exactly is referencing? It is the method you use to identify and credit each of the sources you have used when writing your assignments. It tells your tutor and anyone else reading your work exactly where you got your information from. Referencing is very important for a number of reasons. Firstly, acknowledging your sources is essential so that your tutors know where you got your information from and can access it themselves. By referencing correctly, you are also demonstrating honesty. By declaring your research influences, you can avoid charges of plagiarism. With credibility, you want to show that your arguments are based on good quality information and that you have paid attention to detail when putting your references together. We then have courtesy, which is sometimes overlooked, but it is only polite to credit the sources and authors whose work you've used. Finally, if you reference as you go along, it makes it easier for you to go back to a source if you need to. When should you reference? Well, essentially this would be any time you draw upon a source of academic information. This will include direct word-for-word quotations, paraphrasing, so when you read a section of text and put it into your own words, specific sources such as pictures, tables, charts and statistics, and also when you've used somebody else's thoughts, ideas or theories. The golden rule is if you want to use something for your assignment, you've got to be prepared to reference it. Cite Them Right Harvard uses an author-date method which comes in two parts. You should give what we call an in-text citation. This is where you state the author and date in your main writing wherever you use a source of information. And they should appear throughout your assignment. You then have the A to Z reference list at the end of your work, which is where you give the full details of each source. We will now look at in-text citations in more detail. These consist of the author, date and page details of where you got your information. Here is an example for a direct word-for-word quotation. It is important to use quotation marks if reproducing the original text exactly. Now we see two paraphrase statements based on Evans's original quotation. We've put what Evans wrote into our own words but still retain the core meaning. The citation usually comes at the end of the sentence, but can be blended into the sentence more if you directly name-check the author as part of your writing, as the bottom example, Evans notes that, etc. shows. Cite Them Right Harvard encourages using page numbers when you're paraphrasing, although you wouldn't need to give the pages if you were summarizing a whole article, chapter or book. Students often find it confusing when a source has multiple authors. Cite Them Right Harvard requires you to give all surnames if there are 1, 2 or 3 authors, but once there are 4 or more you can use et al. Instead. In this case, give only the surname of the first named author, followed in italics by the words et al. We will now focus on examples of the full references that would go in the A to Z reference list at the end of your assignment, starting with a book example for Skills for Success by Stella Cottrell. Here we see the different components required for the full book reference: the author, date, title, edition, place of publication, and the publisher. For the author, we give the surname followed by their initials. The date goes inside round brackets, and the title is in italics. We only include the edition details if it is a second edition or later. If a book is the first edition, or doesn't say which edition it is, you can simply leave that bit out of your reference. All of the information you need for your reference can be found on the title and copyright pages at the front of the book. If it's a book you've got out of the university library, then the details should also be on our catalogue, Library Search. Now we have an example for the journal article Students' Voices, written by Cohen and Leather in 2011. The elements we need for the full journal reference are author, date, article title, journal title, volume number, issue number, and page numbers. Note that the article title is in plain font inside inverted commas, whereas the journal title, as the name of the overall publication, goes in italics. The issue number goes inside round brackets, and we include P for a single page, or double P for multiple pages when giving the page range of the whole article. Many of the details you need should be on the first page of the article, and also on Library Search, the library catalogue, if you got the article through the university. Our final example is for a web page. When using general websites, you are expected to give the web address along with the date you access the page. The components for the web page reference are author, date, page title, web address, and access date. On this example, we have a corporate author, the Royal College of Nursing. It is usually fine to include the name of an organisation or government department if there are no named individual authors. The title of the page goes in italics, and the access date, inside round brackets, comes at the end of the reference after the web address. That's just been a brief introduction, so let's have a look at the Cite Them Right online website. This is the Cite Them Right online homepage, and this is where you will come to answer many of your referencing questions. To start with, you can do a simple search using the main box and just type in the kind of source that you're looking for. In this example, statutes or Acts of Parliament. We can then click through to read the advice, but make sure you have got the Harvard style selected. Another way to explore Cite Them Right is to use the menu across the top. The Basics page is particularly useful for finding out more about citations, paraphrasing, and how to set up your reference list or bibliography. You can also choose a particular type of source by browsing the menu headings, for example, media and art, and then newspaper articles. Again, we'll make sure the Harvard style is selected, and you do have the option with the boxes here to create your own reference and email it to yourself. Finally, there is further referencing advice available on the Skills for Learning web pages, and if you do need any help, just get in touch. Thank you.